My name is Joseph Fatheree, Joseph-Fatheree. I'm an instructor of creativity and innovation at Effingham High School.
I had a movie idea.
What's that?
Okay.
In public education, we spend so much time on learning the science, which I completely value, but we've also got to put equal credit and importance on the art of teaching. The maestro, the orchestra leader in the classroom who learns how to dance around and to be able to bring the magic out of kids.
So a person is trying to explain to their friend like the plot of a TV show.
I like to tell the story that in kindergarten, if you put a black dot on the wall, they come in and they're like, you ask them, what is this? And they're like, oh, it's a polar bear's nose in a snowstorm. It's a fly on the wall. It's a meteor. And they have 9 million different ideas. And the last one is, it's a dot on the wall. And over time, something happens in public education. And when we get to high school, it becomes a dot on the wall. And even at that point in time, kids are afraid to raise their hand and be able to share. And so we spend an inordinate amount of time at the beginning of the class breaking down the walls that have been built up over time to help kids be able to explore and share their creativity. This is absolutely the antithesis of a standard curriculum. I've worked on this for the last 28 years. And my first job at Effingham High School was a basic English class. I went through the science of teaching and I applied it every day, and every day was an absolute failure. I just threw my hands up and I came into the kids and I said, all right, you have a blank slate. I literally threw the textbooks out the window, and hip hop music was big at that time period. And my wife and I went out one weekend to St. Louis, a couple hours away, and we went shopping and we found a set of MC Hammer pants. And I'm like, you know what? I've got to find something to reach these kids or I'm not coming back next year. And I walked in the door and was like, whoa, Mr. F, what happened to you over the weekend? Been listening a little bit too much MTV. And it started the conversation. I said, you know what? Everybody has an instrument. You bring them in tomorrow, and we're going to learn how to teach creative writing at this point forward. And we wrote, and we wrote, and we wrote. And I said, you know, by the way, I don't care if you know the rules of grammar. They're like, really? Rules of grammar don't matter anymore? This is the coolest place ever. And I said, I don't care if you spell anything right. I don't care if you use capitalization. I just want you to write. And they wrote, and they wrote, and they wrote, and they wrote. And then they'd come to me and they'd have the song, and they're like, this does not sound right. And I said, well, have you ever heard of a period? One might work well here, and here, and here, and here. And they're like, well, that's really interesting. So go back and try it. So they go back and they try it. They'd work together as pairs. And over time, their writing just improved. And what else was amazing about it, their attitudes improved.
I don't really know how to explain it. It's this weird, like, bubble in the classroom that you want to get stuff done.
And the whole magic in the class started rolling out, and I started seeing that my job was to find projects that engage you in the learning process. It's at a manner that you've never felt before.
He does have this deep desire to see others succeed, and others do well, and others reach their potential.
Each kid has a different personality and different talents that they can do.
And whenever you're not able to say that, it's never negative. It's always, how can we get you there? Not, why aren't you there?
We're getting ready to go visit with Norma Lansing. She's the president of the Effingham Area Chamber of Commerce. They work with developing partnerships, bringing businesses in.
We started looking at what are the elements of education in Effingham County that we felt were most important. And entrepreneurial education came out of those discussions.
She just got it. She got the reason for businesses and community investing in kids.
And out of that came what we now know as CEO, or creating entrepreneurial opportunities, a high school curriculum that I am so excited to have been a part of seeing created for Effingham County.
All right, well, here's what I want you to think about. Are you going to create a culture that supports entrepreneurship? They're taking the skills that they've learned at school and they're tying that curriculum to the real world. Now they have a host of mentors that pat them on the back and say, let me show you the way. It's a game changer.
I already started a business where I just make headbands.
When the opportunity came as Illinois Teacher of the Year, I was asked to co-found an organization here in Illinois. called Advance Illinois. And I got to work with Bill Daley, who's a former chief of staff at the White House, Jim Edgar, a former governor, Ed Rust, former CEO of State Farm. And I got to be involved in education policy at this state at a very deep level. And I went from a classroom teacher that was just impacting students in my room and some teachers in my community to impacting 175,000 teachers in the state of Illinois. We worked to meet with then Senator Obama and Senator Hillary Clinton to write a bill called the Teachers at the Table Act to educate and to communicate with congressional leaders, because we knew they cared about our kids too. That led to being invited by Secretary Duncan last year to go to the International Summit on Teaching, where we got to meet key policymakers from around the globe. And they challenged us, they said, you know what, we're going to host the nation's first domestic summit. And we're going to have you, the 6 of you, you're going to build the framework for it. That's how much stuff has changed in the course of my career, where I have direct contact with the leaders of the free world on being able to talk about the framework of policy and how it plays out in classrooms all around America. If we can do one thing right in the next 10 years, it's going to take on the challenge of reforming our education system, helping people understand that one of the greatest jobs that ever happened in the history of humanity was empowering people with the love and the skill of teaching. If we can do that one thing in the next 10 years, it'll wash away so many miseries, so many complaints, and we can stand together shoulder and shoulder as men and women from different races and different countries, and we can say we did right by our kids. So that's my challenge.